Hi everybody, it's Chris. Welcome to my channel, Crafting Chris. I know it's been a little while since I last made a video, and there's a number of different reasons, I guess, why that's happened. Part of it is my oldest daughter has finished her final and second year of the library technician program at Seneca College, so she's home now. So that makes it much harder for me to get the house to myself. So she's here today, and I finally admitted to her that I was making videos. So I've banished her to a room, and she's not allowed to come out until I'm finished. So, but also in that time, we were doing a lot of, I was doing a lot of purging, going through my house and getting rid of stuff that I've held on for years, including a lot of my crafting stuff that I'm just not using anymore. And we had a big yard sale and have sold a lot of that. We're going to have another yard sale later this summer and hopefully sell the rest of it. But so that's kind of taking me a little bit away from stitching, but I've gotten back into it the last few weeks, and StitchCon is coming, so I really wanted to get another video in to give you an update before then. So let's get started. So what have I been working on lately? One of the projects I picked back up again, and I was kind of inspired a little bit by Brian over at Blitz Stitch, because he sort of had been working on one of his Teresa Wentzler pieces and found it challenging, but was pushing through and persevering, and he actually hit a point where I think he was starting to, see progress and feeling better about it, and that inspired me to pull out my oldest whip, which again I think is probably over 20 years. 1999 is the copyright date, so 20 years was when this pattern was released, and probably when I purchased it. But it's a Candemar kit. They call it an embellished cross stitch. Kindred Spirits is the name of the piece, and this is one of these projects that the Ada cloth comes printed with the artwork on it, and then you can stitch as much or as little as you wanted. But because I'm a pattern follower, I want to follow the pattern. The unfortunate thing is the pattern doesn't always add up with what's printed on the canvas, so that's kind of what's bogged me down a little bit. But anyway, inspired by Brian, I picked it back up again, and I've been working on it. As I'm getting more stitches in it, it's making a little bit more sense. I am having to kind of wing it, which I'm not good at, and just fill in areas that the chart doesn't seem to match up with and do the best that I can. So here's my progress so far. It's in 2 pages, so I'm working on this side, you can see first. And so I've put a lot of stitches in on the horse's body. You can kind of see the difference, how the one back leg is stitched and the other back leg is not, and the front legs aren't stitched. So I think too, once the back stitching gets into it, it might look better. So this originally was purchased, and I still plan on finishing it and giving it to my sister. My goal is to try and finish it and give it to her this Christmas, so we'll see how that goes. But I'll never buy one of these kits again, that's for sure. I think I started to realize, like, part of the fun of cross stitch is that you create something from nothing, and watching the artwork that you're creating appear before your eyes. Well, that already has the artwork printed on it, and it looks okay, and I sort of feel like my stitches are just detracting from it. So, but again, I'm determined. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to give it a chance, do all the back stitching. My sister's going to like it no matter what it looks like when I'm finished, I'm sure. So that is my goal, to get that done for Christmas. So I've put quite a few hours into that the last little while. The other thing I've stitched on a little bit is my white willow stitching piece called Behind the Bit. It's sort of a semi-full coverage, and I've only got a little bit more done from where I was, I think, the last time you maybe saw this piece, but I'm still really loving how the detail, when you sit there and stitch in a little 10 by 10 grid, and you're just using grays and browns, and it doesn't really make sense until you get more of the picture together and you stand back and look at it. And It's really tactile, like when you see it in real life. It's like you want to sort of pet his ear because it looks so soft and fuzzy. But anyway, so really enjoying this one and excited to get some more done on this one. This is one of my projects I'm going to bring with me to StitchCon to do some work on it. So looking forward to getting some solid stitching in on that. The other thing that I've been spending quite a bit of time stitching on is my small for StitchCon, which I forgot to bring with me, so I'm going to quickly go and grab it. So hold please. I think some people like to keep their small a secret, but there's 400 people going to be at StitchCon, and probably 399 of them don't watch my videos, so I'm not too worried about spoiling it for anybody. So yeah, I thought it would just be fun to use what I made. I'm happy with my stitching, like my cross stitching, but I had an idea in my head, and sometimes it's hard to execute what's in your head in real life. But so this is what I've made. These were patterns that came from one of the cross-stitch magazines from the UK, where they give you the little free gifts. And the free gift in this one back in December was there was 12 of these little pictures of this little girl, for like one for each month. So I decided to take 4 of them to represent the 4 months. So this is winter, this is spring, this is summer, and this is fall, and stitch them. And I kind of wanted to put them into a cube that could be a pillow cushion. I just sort of used the colors and made this little grid with a little heart in it. And on the bottom I put StitchCon 2019 and my initials. I'm a little unhappy. It was really hard to sew a cube. I've never done that before, so the stitching, like the stitching in here isn't perfect. I wish I could iron it because the cotton got really wrinkly turning it back outside right. I tried ironing it, but you know, you can only do so much when it's soft and squishy. I did put some sand in the bottom and a little Ziploc bag to give it weight so that it sort of is fairly stable. But like, I thought it could be a pin cushion, or you could just set it on a shelf and rotate it with the seasons. But I'm not sure if people are going to like it or not like it. I know a lot of people do prim and pillows, and it's not prim or pillow. Well, it's kind of pillowy, but it is fun. I have to admit. That's my cat's tail. You know, when I see it sitting there, it does sort of beg to be picked up and squeezed because it is pretty squishy. I stuffed it fairly full. And that was part of my issue too, is I really wanted it to be flat-sided, but how do you stuff something and keep it flat-sided so it's more barrel-shaped than cube shape? But anyway, so that is my small for StitchCon. So if you're coming to StitchCon and it's not your thing, ask me which gift is mine and I'll tell you so you can avoid it. Anyway, so that's the other thing that I've been stitching on. Unfortunately too, when I was making it and sewing it together and I was trimming down these little pieces of my even weave to sew on the fabric strips, I got distracted and I trimmed this one wrong. I trimmed it too close, so there's no way to salvage it, so I had to restitch this one again. But luckily you can stitch them in a day. They don't take too long. So that's the other thing I've been stitching on. And then the other thing that's taken up a big chunk of my time the last couple of weeks is I've been making some project bags, and I'm really enjoying doing that. It's so fun playing with the different fabrics and putting the different colors and patterns together. And after you make a few, you kind of get in a groove, and I actually find it really fun and actually relaxing. I really enjoy it. So I was just going to quickly show you some of the ones that I had made just for fun, to show you some of the things. So this is one that I made. It's got these cute little mice. They're kind of like 4-season mice. There's one for summer, fall, winter with this pattern. And I had these really cute little dog buttons, so I just put them on as little zipper pulls with a little bit of twine. So shabby chic puppy dogs relates well to me since I'm a veterinarian and I love animals. This is a Christmas one. It's Happy Holidays on the inside fabric. It's cute little trees on the back. This one's cute. It's a bunch of bees. Inside it's polka dots. This one I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see. The fabric inside is sort of white on white, but there's big bumblebees in there. And then I really like this flower fabric. This is my Canadiana one, so there's sort of like that buffalo check in there, and then this really fun print with all sort of the Canadian icons. This is a Christmas one, looks like a sweater to me in a way, and then these funky little Santas and reindeers and Christmas trees. This one has sort of like a barn board, and then you can see there's chickens on it. This one is just sort of a mossy, sort of greeny color inside, and then the back is this really fun farm scene. So those are a bunch of the bags that I've been making, and that was really fun. You just start thinking about, ooh, I should go get some more fabric and make some more, but I've got lots. So the other things I just wanted to quickly show you, I had showed you the hedgehog that I'd stitched before, but I did do a final finish on him. So this is him here. So I finished him in a hoop, and I just put some felt on the back that I stitched around the edge with a blanket stitch, and he just sits down in my craft area downstairs. The other thing that I've been doing is kitting up some projects for StitchCon. So I kind of picked out 4 projects I'm going to take with me. So I mentioned already my horse is one. So I'm kind of doing some stitching on him now to refamiliarize myself, because it's been a few months since I've worked on him. And I've got 3 more that are basically new starts, I guess. So I'm just going to show you. So this is another Canadiana bag. I've just reversed the fabric, so the buffalo check's on the outside. So the one project I'm bringing is by Clouds Factory, and it's the Star Trek alphabet that I'm going to make for my husband as a Christmas gift. So I figured that one should be fairly easy to do at a retreat, because each character is like a mini finish, and it's on Ada, so I should be able to see fine despite the lighting, and it's fairly solid blocks of color. So I thought that might be a good one to work on when I'm there. So I got my fabric, and I serged the edges, got all my flosses, and I even figured out my starting point. I like to start in the upper left corner, so I did all my counting, figured that out, and put in my first few stitches. So all I need to do is sit down and start stitching. I don't have to do that complicated figuring out where I want to start kind of thing. So so this is another one of these ones with the cows. It is a little different fabric in it. It's a lighter color. So this project is, a lot of people have seen these. It's the Snowflower Diaries Joyful World Sal. So I'm way behind on these, so I thought I'd take July and work on it. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll finish it. I don't know. We'll see. But it's cute with these little flamingos, and there's a little baby flamingo down there. I guess I really should be showing you that's what it looks like when it's completed. And there's the little baby flamingo there. And again, I'm doing that on 28 count linen. And I did the same thing, so you can see that's the linen in there. Put the first few stitches of the border in there, so that should make it easier, and all my flosses are in there. Should make it easier to get going. The Star Trek alphabet is on a 14 count Ada. The other one I thought I would bring, just again because it's different if I kind of get bored or whatever, is a Mill Hill kit that I have. Called Winter Woods, and so I've sort of prepped this when I found the middle. You're supposed to find the middle of your perforated paper, so I've done that already. And I sorted all the threads out and kind of put them on a piece of cardboard so that I know what everything is. I'm hoping to maybe buy myself a tacky bob when I'm there for the beading. If I get to that, I probably won't get to that point, but if I did, but if I don't, I just bring this little container and I dump the beads in there, and it's pretty easy just to take my beading needle and pick up what I need out of there. So that's my projects. I'm just going to take the 4 projects. I'm thinking I might buy myself a pattern and kit it up at keepsakes when I'm there, but I'm going to decide if I want to pick something before I go so that I can be focused rather than get in the store and be overwhelmed and not know what I'm going to do, but we'll see how that goes. So that's kind of everything I've been working on. I'm not going to do a needle minder exchange. I don't use needle minders myself, so I'm not going to worry about doing that, but I am going to do the smalls exchange, and I'm really excited. I'm driving down by myself, which is a little bit scary and a little bit exciting. I'm going to drive where I live to Windsor and stay there. That's about 3 to 4 hours from me, probably 4 hours for me, and I'm going to stay there overnight and then get up really early, like at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, so that I can cross the border and drive through Detroit before traffic gets bad. That's where I'm most anxious, is about trying to navigate through Detroit on my own without a navigator in the car helping me look for which lane I need to be in and stuff. So wish me luck, send me prayers, and if you're coming to StitchCon, I can't wait to meet you in person. I will do a video after StitchCon and kind of give you a quick update or a rundown on my experiences, but I probably won't have another video before then. But I was just going to finish off. I know every now and then I sort of show you something that I've created or made in the past. I have mentioned, I think before, that I used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Stampin' Up!, if you're not aware, is a company that sells rubber stamps for card making and scrapbooking. So they have rubber stamps and inks and papers and embellishments and all kinds of really cool, crazy stuff. And so I was a demonstrator for quite a few years and used to teach classes from my home and that sort of thing. So I had all the toys. So one thing that I had made one time for a class project was this cute little My ABC book. So Stampin' Up! Made these little chipboard boxes, and they came with a little chipboard book in them, and then you could buy these little mini page protectors. So I sort of just took patterned paper and covered the whole chipboard book with the patterned paper, and then made these little pages that in theory, I don't know how well it would work in practicality, but in theory this is a dry erase marker here on the top, and you know, a child could practice their letters, and then there's little symbols for each letter. So A for apple, B for boat, C for cupcake, D for duck, H for house, G for gumball. Anyway, so that was like a little class project that I had made up. ABC. Anyway, that's everything I have for you today. Thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to stop by and see what I've been up to, check things out. I'm loving watching everybody's sort of mania wrap-ups and what they've been doing. I may participate next year. I've seen a few different non-traditional mania plans as opposed to the one start every day for 19 days or whatever, because I could never do that, but I may consider some of the other things I've seen people doing this year, next year. Anyway, thank you again for stopping by. Until next time, bye.